Hello everyone and welcome to episode 59, I think we're at now, of my Blackburn Rovers Football Manager 2017 save. So you know when you're playing Football Manager and you're really stressed out and the players just aren't doing what you want them to do? These little things are bloody brilliant, but fortunately for us, even though later on in the series, don't be surprised if I just happen to kind of be like, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so as you can see, this episode is going to be all about our away game against Chelsea. So the last episode was, of course, us beating Man United to win the UEFA Super Cup, which was a phenomenal start to the season. And then I looked at our next two fixtures and it was kind of like Stoke and Crystal Palace. How underwhelming can you get? So I thought to myself, right, let's play over them games, see what happens, even though obviously Stoke beat us on the first day of the season last season, and then give you guys at home our game away at Chelsea. Now, the last time I actually played was about a week ago, so I might be a little bit shaky in terms of remembering things, but I'll try my best. So, we beat Stoke 3-0, which was a massive breath of fresh air, particularly given, like I said, the fact that we wanted revenge. And none other than Matthias Kunz, our brand new spanking signing, our Lucas Moura replacement that we of course signed a few months ago, decided to sub him off, and what an epic impact he made. Now I'm not going to show you all the goals against Stoke, but I'm going to show you his goal, and he had a really good opportunity just before scoring as well. Was quite fortunate with getting the deflection that he did for his goal, but you know, for someone as young as him to come straight on in the Premier League and kind of rip the Stoke defence apart like he was doing. Actually, no, sorry. His goal didn't get a deflection. He had a chance just before this where he was unlucky not to score because of a deflection. See, I told you I'd be a bit, shaky because of the fact that I've not played this save in a week. I've not played Football Manager at all in a week. But it was awesome to sub him on. How long did he even get on the pitch? He came on pretty late as well. He came on in the 70th minute. So he had just over 20 minutes to show what he can do. And he ended up with a rating of 7.3. So hopefully he can build on that and become a crucial part to our side. Nice healthy 3-0 win away from home against Stoke, and then we had Crystal Palace at home. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I thought it was going to be one of them games where it just seems like you're not going to score. 18 shots, 8 on target, 8 off target, 2 clear-cut chances, most of the possession. Crystal Palace, like, I'd say they didn't even show up, but it's not really their fault for not showing up. We are significantly the better side. Nano, did he get subbed on? Yeah, he got subbed on in the 68th minute and managed to grab the winner with 2 minutes to go. It reached a point where I just basically started throwing everyone forward. Hit the 80th, 75th minute, and Crystal Palace, up until that point, still had no shots on target. The goal did come from a corner, but what was awesome was the fact that we kept huffing and puffing and eventually blew down the Crystal Palace defence. And it's games like this which, in my opinion, separate the best from the rest, right? Games where you're playing well and can't score, but somehow you do eventually find a way to score and get the win. And even games where you don't necessarily play well and still manage to get the win. When you do manage to win them kind of games, that's when you can really consider yourself up there and challenging for the title. Now, realistically speaking, do I think we'll challenge for the title? No, not really, simply because we do have Champions League football right now, and I feel like this EFL Cup draw away at a Premier League side in Everton, we will field youngsters in the EFL Cup because you only get like £1 million for winning it, so it's kind of low priority for us, and we need to keep fresh legs as much as possible. As you can see, we've got Roma, then 4 days later Arsenal, and then a few days later Real Madrid. It's not going to be easy whatsoever, guys, in terms of winning the league. But if we can cement another Champions League spot and build on our current side, maybe get a slightly higher transfer budget than what they gave us this summer, then I think that'll be a realistic target for us come the end of the season. In terms of winning the league, yes, we beat the European and Premier League champions in Man United early on, but as we know, anything can happen come the end of the season. So let's take things one game at a time, like I like to do, and see what happens. So far up until this point, every season, I think it's safe to say we've definitely made a stride in the right direction in terms of improving and so on. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. We're going to be up against Chelsea, and from a managerial perspective, especially those of you guys who've been watching from the start, you'll know that my record against Chelsea is pretty good. I wouldn't say my record against Chelsea is pretty good because of me. Well, I mean, I can take some of the credit, obviously, but kind of because of the fact that Chelsea have just been terrible in the past few seasons. They've not even finished anywhere near a European spot. 7th was the closest they got in the 2016 season. I'm not even sure they... Do you make the Europa League for 7th? I don't think you do you? Let's double check. No, you don't. So, yeah, they have finally settled on a manager, and that is one of the areas where Chelsea are kind of have problems, both in real life and the game. Paulo Bento is their manager, but they're currently sat 9th in the Premier League, so they've not exactly had the best of starts, but then again, they've kind of got only 2 points less than us. But it's a game I'm going to be going into, a game I'm going to be wanting to win. Do they still splash the cash? Of course they do. Let's see who they've signed. They signed Vitolo from Real Madrid for 8 million, Andrea Balic for 14.5. Haugen from Man City looks like a really decent centre midfielder regen, but then again for 33 million they can have him. They've signed a player called Karim Gerrard, who, wow, this guy looks pretty decent. They've signed him from Inter Milan, who bought him from Amiens for 19.75k. What a player this lad is. I don't think he's necessarily world class, but considering that's how much Inter Milan paid for him and the profit they made, fair play. I can see why Inter Milan got rid of him and sold him to a mid-table side like Chelsea at the moment. And they seem to have signed a centre mid in Lucas Jelinek. So they've not really splashed the cash too much this particular transfer window, but we look at their side, they still do have a very strong team. So without further ado, we're off to the bridge. We're off to London. Can we make it 3 wins in a row in the Premier League this season? Let's find out. Alright everyone, hello and welcome to Stamford Bridge. So, usual approach from us away from home, fullbacks rather than IFBs. Thomas Callas is currently injured, so Dumic and Bath both play centre-back for us. Augustinsson out on the left, Varela comes in on the right, simply because Valkvist still needs a little bit of time to get up to scratch tactically, but he may make an appearance come the second half. Rog out on the left, Niang out on the right with Nano down the middle. Our best centre midfield partnership at the moment, in my opinion, with Alenya and Demirbay. A lot of technicality and creativity, with Oriol Romeu playing the defensive midfield position, who is going to be, of course, man-marking Oscar, whilst these guys man-mark our, or rather Chelsea's, wide men. And the reason why Romeu plays is because both Tiote and Douglas are currently injured. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. We've got to be careful of Batshuayi up front. But generally speaking, I think we'll be fine. Okie dokie then. So it's Chelsea to kick off. Surprised that Paulo Bento isn't playing his narrow 4-1-2-1-2, which is kind of what he plays most of the time in real life and this game as well. But 20 minutes in, it seems like we've done absolutely diddly squat. But then again, so have Chelsea. And it's, well, that's not really great. All we can do is really keep yelling at the players. And it's always kind of dodgy, you know, when you're on key highlights, because you can't really see exactly what's going on. Draxler shoots. That's a really good save there from Rajkovic, and we need to wake up. It was a bit of a soft set piece, if I'm fully honest, and Chelsea nearly broke the deadlock from it. Can we tackle Batshuayi here, though, on the edge of the box and counter? The answer's no. Balic now. New signing, of course. We did take a look at him just a few minutes ago. And we need to make sure we stop giving away these free kicks, because Chelsea do have the technical players to really cause us problems. Dave picks it up on the left wing, plays the header in, and, well, another clear-cut chance for Chelsea. 30 minutes in, we've not really showed up today. And because we're on key highlights, I've not really been able to come up with anything we can really change. hopefully we don't concede really before the second half, and then we can maybe just take a quick look at some larger highlights, take a look at some individual player weaknesses, and maybe see if we can at least go out into the second half and try and exploit something. I'm going to drop down to a counter mentality for the last 5 minutes of the first half, make us a little bit more solid defensively, and there we go. Well, the second I say there we go, we decide to take a goal kick. Let's see what's going to happen now. Augustinson, who's recently signed a new contract because he's doing my head in about wanting to leave. Nyang is going to make a run down the right-hand wing. Loses the ball, but picks it up again. Really does need support from Varela, but because we drop down to that counter mentality, he's not as adventurous going forward. Romeu now is going to leave Oscar alone. Nano finds Marco Rog in tons of space. Rog shoots, and it's somehow gone wide of the target. How did he miss that? How did he miss that? And the referee blows straight away. And that should have been 1-0. I mean, it's the only chance we've really seen of ourselves in that first half. Calmly tell the lads, I'm not really happy with what we're seeing. If we take a look at the match stats, as you can see, it's very even. They've just had the slightly better clear-cut chances, which you might expect with them really being at home. In terms of how our players are performing, Nyang's on a 6.5, so I'm going to swap him around with Rog, simply because Rog's pretty pacey, so he can kind of act like a winger out on that right-hand side. Nyang, however, is going to have to cut in on his right-hand side, but because he's kind of naturally a striker, he'll probably prefer to do that. In terms of the centre mids, we've not really seen too much from them, but I don't really want to change things too much as things currently stand. We will go back to a standard mentality, and I think what we'll do as well is get rid of retained possession and keep passing directness on mixed, and just see if we can get that ball forward just a little bit faster to try and cause Chelsea a few more problems. Not really been impressed with Varela. I've only seen one highlight for us, but I've seen a few of Chelsea's highlights. Obviously, we've seen them together, and he did look a bit shaky out on the right-hand side, particularly with Aspilicueta getting a cross or two in to cause problems. So he could come off for Volkvist around the 55th, 60th minute. But other than that, I think we should keep things the same because we have kind of given them a bollocking at half-time. Let's see whether or not they could answer back. And we did finish that first half on somewhat of a positive note. Here we go then. So we take the kick-off. In terms of man marking, we should be doing fine. And now it's our turn to take a free kick from what was basically the exact same position Chelsea took a free kick from in the first half. Rog out on this left-hand side for some reason is going to get tackled by Lirola, and that to me straight away suggests there could be a bit of an issue with man marking. Let me just double-check things. It's fine then, it was just because of the set piece, so they ended up on the wrong sides. Zuma plays the ball to Christensen, who really does become a phenomenal player on this game. He's been like this for quite a few years, but I don't like the fact that Chelsea are on the ball, and we are lacking tacklers in midfield. But the second I say that, Demirbay, who's one of our more creative players, gets a foot in. Elenya to Romeu, nice passing between the midfielders and the fullbacks. It's what we want from him. I would like to see our fullbacks get forward a little bit more. Varela needs to be helping out Rog. If he bombs forward and helps out Rog, Rog can play it wide and we can then get men in the box. So a little bit negative, I think, from the right-hand side all game pretty much from Varela. I'll leave him on for a few more minutes, but yeah, that's it. I'm going to have to make a change on the right-hand side. I'm not really happy with what I'm seeing. Volkvist is going to come on. Now, the nice thing about Volkvist, he is a new signing, of course, is he can play both centre-back and right-back. But I am going to actually play him at right-back. And, do I want to take the gamble and put him on attack? Not just yet, I don't think. Not just yet. I think going into the final 10-15 minutes of the game, if it's still 0-0, Volkvist can replace Dumic at centre-back, because obviously Dumic is yellow-carded, and Fabio can come on at right-back and maybe set him to attack. Romeu looking a little bit nervous. Mbine Yang hasn't really improved, to be honest, but I don't want to take him off just yet. We'll go for our standard team talk, demand more from the players. We are just about starting to edge things. And there we go. 70th minute. It's probably time to make one or two changes. Kunz is going to come on. He made an impact in the first game of the season. Let's see if we can do it again. In terms of what other substitutions I want to make, I'm going to do exactly what I said I'd do. I'm not quite sure why we've got so many players looking nervous. Fabio is going to come on. And I'm actually going to set both our fullbacks to wing-backs. That should get them bombing forward a little bit extra. I don't want to change the mentality from standard because it is still Chelsea. Here we go. Lirola is going to play the ball to Zuma. And it's a really good tackle from the little man in Kunz already. What can he do? Don't shoot. Pass the ball. Takes a shot. Goes for glory. It was good play. He's a small guy, but as you can see, he's really, really hungry to do well for the club. 80th minute now. Right. What could we possibly do here? What could we possibly do? Not much, to be honest. What we'll do is, Batshuayi isn't exactly the fastest of strikers, so we'll try and constrict the pitch a little bit. We'll play with a slightly higher defensive line and increase our passing directness a little bit more, simply because I feel like if we are going to grab a goal, we are basically going to have to do that. Less working the ball into the box, look for overlap. Let's make sure that our players do start utilising the wing-backs and tell them to be a little bit... I don't want to regret conceding a late goal, so I'm relatively happy with that. I do feel like Chelsea are a team we should really be at least getting a draw. Oh no, what is that? Oh. Okay, change of plan. Okay. Let's be honest. They've been causing us problems from set pieces pretty much all game, haven't they? So... But it's just disappointing, really. It's just disappointing. We took Dumic off, and that's happened. How did that happen? Out of interest, I mean, who is that? It's Fabio. Oh, sub Fabio on, and he lets me down like that. I mean, there was no way he was going to beat Christensen in the air. I'll be honest, but ugh. I would have taken 0-0. There's nothing really we did. We didn't. We came here. I mean, we've got players like Andre Gray and so on out. You know what I mean? This is probably our last roll of the dice. Really good tackle there from Nathan Aki, however you pronounce it. And I think this could be a highlight of some sort. I'm just not entirely quite sure who, what, why, when. Omaridis, yeah, he looks like a bit of a target man who Chelsea must have subbed on to try and change the game. Augustinson whips the ball into Nano, whips it in once more. Oh! Goal! Fabio, the man who made the mistake, that resulted in us conceding a goal, redeems himself. It was Augustinson, recently signed a new contract. Oh, yes! Signed a new contract, got the assist, and now for the love of God, be more disciplined and waste time. Let's walk away from Stamford Bridge with a point. I'll be happy with that, especially considering how we conceded a set piece. Lovely build-up, good cross that was from Augustinson. Nano, not the biggest of men, and Fabio, that's the wing-back position kicking in, and Chelsea thought they were going to nick a lead, but... Oh, God, don't lose it now. Kill him. Kill Oscar. Should probably be telling him to kill Draxler, given that he mugged us off like twice. Performance was disappointing. I'll tell him I'm not happy with what I've seen, simply because Chelsea, they've got good players and they spend a lot of money, but I think we're at a point now where we should be looking to come to somewhere like Stamford Bridge and get all 3 points. But deep down, given the fact that we conceded a really sloppy goal, over the moon that Fabio, popped up and got the equaliser, to be honest. He made up for his previous error. 7.4 rating. Not quite sure we got a 7.4 rating, given that, for me, he was at fault for Chelsea's goal and he wasn't really on the pitch that long. But whatever, I don't care. It's a good point considering we were 1-0 down. But yeah, the front guys really were the overwhelming thing for me. We do have quite a few front guys obviously injured, and that was the main reason why we thought we wouldn't even beat Man United. And to be fair, it was kind of like one of the reasons why we struggled to score against Crystal Palace, and without a shadow of a doubt, we struggled to score against Chelsea. You'll find out what's happened, whether or not we make any last-minute deadline day signings. And I completely forgot about the transfer window, to be honest. You could tell I've not played this in a week. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a case of just keeping an eye on who pops up in the last minute or two. In terms of transfers here, you'll notice we've got players like Ben Davis and, you know, it's Alexandro, loads of left backs like Bernat and stuff. That was when Augustinson was going to leave, but because he signed a new contract, he is going to stay, and we won't be signing another left back. We've got 13 million quid and 101k wage budget, so that can of course change. And it's just about whether or not we can find the right player at the moment in time, guys. So we'll have to wait and see. Players will pop up on transfer deadline day. I'd like to bring in another world-class offensive player, because I think, as we've kind of seen against Palace and Chelsea, we could do with more goals in the side, because when Andre Gray's out, Nano isn't exactly world-class, but he gets a job done somewhat. Marco Rog is really more of a midfielder who's playing attacking midfield for us, and Matthias Kunz, even though I want to slowly introduce him, he's still very, very young, so it would be nice to get that extra bit of firepower up front. But we can only do it, of course, if the price is right, because our owners have limited what we're able to do. I am kind of hoping that next season, though, if we are in the Champions League, we will get a bit of cash, because regardless of what happens in the Champions League, if we get knocked out in the group stages, we go to the Europa League, and it basically has money, money, money written all over it. In terms of the next episode, I'm going to go and play against Leicester now. Next episode, we'll make it a double biller. First Champions League game at home against Roma, followed by an away game against Arsenal. I'm going to be recording it right after this. So, on that note, if you've liked this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Someone, I think it was Jake, mentioned that we're on a road to 1,000 subscribers. I think I first started making these Blackburn videos, or I think I made my Klopp video back in late November. So it's been about 5-6 months, something like that, since I started my channel, and we've almost hit 1,000 subscribers. The growth is amazing. So, you know, just shout out to everyone who's hit the subscribe button. Shout out to everyone who's been liking the videos. Even people who watch the videos and might not subscribe and might not hit the like button or might not even comment, still appreciate the fact that you're watching the video. And on that note, I'm going to bid you guys farewell, where I'm going to be up against James Collins' Leicester in a few minutes' time. But thanks for watching.